I know we can do this together because I know this. There's nothing beyond our capacity.
Welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel, folks. Mr. Capacability is meeting Xi Jinping in homeless-free San Francisco today. That guy is a complete lying sack of shit moron, and he's going to meet the leader of China. We're going to talk about China here in a little bit. Folks, right now, it is the Prepared Mind channel. It is a way whacked out, wacky-ass Wednesday. And I want you worried about what's going on. Because if people aren't worried, they don't seem to do anything about what's happening. And I think that is a fact. It's just a fact. If people aren't scared to death, they don't want to do shit. Well, I don't want to scare people to death, but I'm going to share some facts with you. You can decide whether you want to believe them, ignore them, do something about it, do nothing about it. Stick your head up your own ass. Or pull it out of the fucking sand and start taking action. Prep to action. Here we are. It is the Prepared Mind channel. It is your show where you can talk about what is happening, what has happened, and what may happen. Now, let's have some fun with the top story of the day. Too many times I've heard people go, man, it hasn't hit the fan. I'm like, what section do you want to talk about? You want to talk about law, politics, military, kids, school, international, what have you? How about this? How about philosophy turned on its head? How about political philosophy turned on its head? The Democrats, folks, and socialists the world over think they can fool everybody. They can make some promises, give out a little candy, and everyone will eat out of the palm of their hand and vote for them and love them, and they'll get away with it, and hell, get away with murder. Well, guess what? No. That's how you know when it's hit the fan, folks, when the bad people tell the Democrats, the socialists, the lying sacks of shit, you've got blood on your hands. And that is exactly what was said to none other than Canada's I like balls on my chin, Justin Turd Ho. That's right. He tried to go into a restaurante in Vancouver. And they were shouting, you have blood on your hands, and ran him out of the restaurant, folks, by, well, who did it? Pro-Palestinian protesters. Folks, I want you to understand this is absolutely critical for me, you, and everybody. The fool, naive, moronic Democratic types, they do not realize that they can't buy love, that they can't weasel votes out of these people. They don't realize that they are targeted now by these pro-Palestinians. They could be removed from the place of the face of the planet. Yes, they could. I don't have to commit a, what do you call it? A threat. It's not a threat. It's not me saying this. It is the Palestinian supporters. It is the Hamas supporters. It is the terrorist supporters. And of course, we know that pro-Palestinian Hamas terrorists like mass murder. And imagine, folks, how much more will it take? This much? This much? Maybe this much before all of these domestic pro-Palestinian types in America, Canada, and around Europe, how much longer until they go, you know what? We have access to these politicians. We have access to them. Why don't we just kill them? Turd Ho. That's right. Testicles on the chin, Turd Ho. He likes to go out in public and wear a cowboy hat and pretend to be a human being. He likes that. He thinks he can mix with the people and, just rap with them a bit. Governor Gavin Newsom, he knows a little better, but he still sticks his dumb, skinny pencil neck out in public from time to time. All of these people, folks, what happens when one of them gets whacked, waxed, erased? If Justin Trudeau is assassinated by a pro-Hamas, pro-Palestinian, anti-Western terrorist, what will Joe Biden do? What will Gavin Newsom do? What will Trump do? What happens when they start targeting these public figures who appear in public and pretend that they can just be one of the people? Now, folks, in an effort to gain the support of the pro-Palestinians, prior to getting chased out of a fucking restaurant, scrotums on his chin, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau thought he would go on the news and speak and, parrot. Repeat. That's what parrot means, to repeat. Hamas talking points. And guess what, Trudeau? You found out. It's too bad. They still hate your guts. That, folks, is how these people are. You can't buy them off by letting them in the country. You can't buy them off by giving them some money, some benefits, a house. So what is it that they want? Folks, like it or not, agree with them or not, the terrorist types are principled people. They have their principles, whether you agree with them or not. They have their principles. Do you agree? You throw them a little money, they don't care. They're still going to try and kill you because they're terrorists. In fact, I have something I wanted to share with you. It just about made me vomit when I read the numbers. Joe Biden has given another $10 billion, $10 billion with a B, $10 billion to Iran. Now, news sources are reporting that Joe Biden has given Iran $80 billion over the last 3 years. Since he became president, he's given them $80 billion. That equates to $27 million a year. I remember hearing that Israel gets $25 billion a year, but that was some years ago. And I don't know if they're still doing that. But I do know that Joe Biden has given Iran $80 billion. How is this possible? Folks, Ukraine, in order to fight the Russians, has been given about $130 billion. So Iran has gotten over half of what Ukraine has gotten. What possible purpose does paying and giving and gifting your money to Iran do? What does it do? What do we get? What did we get? What will we get for the $80 billion that Joe Biden has given them? I'm going to do some quick math here. Hang on. This is important here. Let's see. Not counting children. There's about 300 million people in America. Let's see. 80, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's $80 billion. We're going to divide that by the number of Americans who aren't children. 300 million. If we took what Joe Biden has given to Iran since being the president, now that would equal $266 for every American. Every American has given $266.67 to Iran times 300 million. Yep. There you have it, folks. There you have it. Whew. Yep. Instead of you getting money, you have paid money. Unbelievable. How about, never mind, fuck it. I'm not even going to go there. We're going to leave it alone. If you would, get your questions down below, because we are going to have some more things to talk about. It is go time, folks. It's coming close to being go time. I think this is important. Washington, D.C. is heating up. The MAGA Speaker of the House, Johnson, has called Mayorkas, the head of the Department of Homeland Security, the guy responsible for the U.S. southern border. He's called them one of the worst in U.S. history. I tell you what, I don't see anyone worse than him. Nope. We don't have the Department of Homeland Security hasn't been around all that long. I don't know of anybody who has let that many millions of people in illegally. No, I'm going to disagree with the speaker, Johnson. Mayorkas is, without a doubt, unabashedly awful than the worst in history. Now, I do not like, what was her name? Valerie Jarrett. She was a pile of shit too. But she didn't let in 6 million illegal immigrants. All right. So, in reference to and in condemnation of Mayorkas, Marge Taylor Greene posted on social media. Here's what she wrote. Quote, "To the 8 Republicans who voted with Democrats to kill the impeachment of Mayorkas, how many more Americans have to die while you claim impeachment has to be done the right way? My articles," meaning the articles of impeachment for Mayorkas, "my articles have been rotting in committee and now go back on the shelf. Your excuses are pathetic." Let's see. I think we need to name the 8. I think we need to name the ones who said, no, we shouldn't impeach Mayorkas. It's okay that these illegals are coming over here and killing Americans. Let's see. Patrick McHenry of North Carolina. Do you remember Patrick McHenry? That's right. He was the Speaker pro tem while they went from Kevin McCarthy over to MAGA Mike Johnson. That's right, folks. The almost Speaker, who they said could be there for 6 months. Here's another one. Tom McClintock, Republican from California, said, no. We don't need to impeach that sack of shit. Tom McClintock, you are a sack of shit, and I've met you. I think I met him, or at least I was standing very close to him and talking at him. I don't know if he knows that I met him or what, but yes, up in extreme Northern California. Here's another one. John Duarte of California. That's 2 Californians and 1 California suck-up in McHenry. Virginia Fox of North Carolina. There's a commie, Fox in the hole. Darrell Issa of California. Darrell Issa used to be a hardline Republican who I think is from the Fresno area. He represents California through the Fresno and I think Madera County area. Darrell Issa, you fucking sellout. Cliff Bentz of Oregon. That name just sounds like a sellout name. Ken Buck of Colorado. That's the guy who's not going to go and run anymore. He's sold out and is a sack of shit. And of course, Michael Turner of Ohio. I'm not gonna pull punches with these people. Americans have died at the hands of these terrorists and illegal murdering, drug dealing, sex trafficking, thieving criminals. And they're like, no, let's not blame Mayorkas, even though he's the one who is leaving the border open. Now, if he said, look, I'm closing this border right now. No one's getting through. We're putting up the wall. We're shutting the fucking gate by the rules, by the book. And if Biden said, hey, look, you're going to open that border the way I said. And he says, I ain't doing it. My job's to protect the country. I took an oath. I swore to defend and uphold the law. And that's the law. And you, Mr. President, don't get to open the border just because you feel like being a traitor to the Americans. And then Biden would have to fire him. Right? That's what he should have done. Not just say, well, the president wants me to do it this way. I say impeach Mayorkas. Take that vote again and again and again and make these 8 assholes keep saying no so they feel like the sacks of shit sellouts that they are all through the holidays. Fuck them for fucking over America. And MAGA Mike Johnson, release all of the January 6th tapes that show all of the lies of the Metro DC police. Now, I want to ask you guys this question. I'm pretty rough, right? I call these guys dirty names. I make fun of them. I pick on them. I bring to light a little bit of humor and satire along with the crimes, the treason, the malfeasance of office, the dereliction of duty that all these asswipes commit. Is that extreme? Do I sound too extreme for taking this hardline stance on law and order, truth and justice, the Constitution and American way? Is that I'm extreme now? These people are letting in murderers and worse, and I'm the extreme one. Fuck, I tell you, folks, it is time to be principled. Be a prepper, food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and a plan. Get it together. I am not telling anyone to go commit an act of violence, nor do I glamorize or glorify violence. I don't tell people to go commit crimes or encourage people to commit crimes, nor do I support people who are out there committing massive crimes like, well, organizing anti-American protests and assaulting and murdering people, whether they're Americans or Israeli Americans or Jewish Americans or any other Americans. We need to have principles. And one of those principles is, well, free speech. You have the right to say whatever you want. You may as well speak the truth. You may as well speak facts. Now, Stephen Clifford Lee. Stephen Clifford Lee is the co-defendant. He's one of the co-defendants with Trump. And he has refused. Fat ass Fannie, the DA in Fulton County. He's refused to accept her plea deal. It is a bogus, sham, bullshit case. And he's refusing to accept it. And he's standing with President Trump. Folks, principles do matter. And fuck fat ass Fannie for fucking fascist criminal lies. They know what they're doing, folks. They are intentionally pushing these lawsuits against Trump, against Trump supporters, against January 6th protesters. They're investigating parents. They're investigating right-wing supporters. They're investigating patriots. They're investigating veterans because they are afraid of us and they know what they are doing is illegal and wrong. And if they can keep investigating and locking people up and nothing happens to them, they'll push harder and harder and harder until they block us out altogether and destroy this country. I don't know how the Germans let the Nazis take control. They saw who Hitler was. They heard the words he spoke. They knew better. They stupid Germans. Stupid fucking Americans. If you don't stand up and start defending this country. Period. Period. We have to start defending this country, folks. Or we're going to have blood on our hands. For example, I talk about the squad, the jihad squad. They're called the jihad squad for good reason. They support terror. And they get to be members of Congress while they support terror. I talk about AOC, who's a fucking moron. She is. I've seen potatoes that have beaten her in an IQ contest. Right? The woman who can eat an apple through a picket fence without getting any splinters in her lips, that chick. Yeah, her. Who else? Who else is in the jihad squad that's really famous? Ilhan Omar. POS extraordinaire, terrorist supporter, married her own brother. Yeah, principles matter, folks. And the other one that I love to talk about is Rashida Tlaib. Guess what? She has been exposed. Thankfully, not with her clothes off, but she has been exposed as a member of a private, secret little Facebook group that glamorizes and glorifies Hamas, terrorists, and terrorism. That's right, folks. The cat is out of the bag. She has been identified as a member of this private little group, this secret little Facebook club. She needs to be expelled from Congress. She needs to be censored. She needs to be expelled and probably prosecuted. Why? For giving aid and comfort to the self-stated enemy of the United States government, Hamas. Now, you'll see that giving aid and comfort to the enemy, aid and comfort. Aid is money or weapons. What is comfort? Why is giving comfort to the enemy a crime? Supporting them psychologically, supporting them politically, supporting them, making them feel loved, welcome, justifying their actions as a government elected official, as a government elected representative. She's not an official. The only thing official about her is her low IQ. She is giving comfort to the enemy by encouraging and supporting them from her little private group and as a U.S. congressional representative. I think that's a crime. I think it's a crime. Aid and comfort. It borders on treason, folks. It borders on treason. I mean, there's more. There's more. Because of people like Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar and AOC and the Democrat Party and Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. Oh, yeah, Chuck Schumer's Jewish, by the way. I wonder how he feels. Well, I got to toe the party line and try and walk the line and piss everyone off. That's my job. All right. Well, there is a Jew-hating, an Israeli-hating bus driver who, folks, left 900 protesters stranded at Dulles International Airport on the D.C. tarmac, left them there for hours, refused to take them to the March for Israel in Washington, D.C. Now, one bus does not hold 900 people. So it's more than one bus driver. Jew-hating bus drivers, multiple bus drivers. They committed conspiracy, folks, to commit fraud. There's conspiracy to commit fraud. The people who flew in to Dulles International Airport contracted with the bus company to pick them up and take them to the National Mall so they could peacefully protest. Isn't that fraud? The bus company knew that they had people, right? I'm sure somebody, at least one out of the 900 said, hey, where are your bus drivers? Where's the buses we paid you for? That's fraud. That's fraud. Isn't it racial also or religious discrimination to target an entire group and deny them service that they paid for and the bus company agreed to? Or maybe I can run around. I can act like an asshole. I can tell Muslims to go fuck themselves and make sure that everyone sees them and knows that they're Muslims and make a great assumption about all of them and say they support mass murder. Or no, that's not right, is it? We should treat individuals as individuals. We should treat all Muslims as individuals. Are you a good person? Right? You give them the standard good person test that you have. Right? Same with Jews. Same with whites. Same with blacks. Same with Mexicans. Same with Guatemalans and Honduras. Same with Canadians. Same with Chinese. Same with Japanese. Same with Australians. Shouldn't we treat everyone as individuals? Or should we lump them in and treat them all as the worst amongst them? See, I don't believe that all Muslims are murderous terrorists. But these Muslims at the bus company are treating all Jews, all Israelis, as if they are the ones pulling the triggers in the war against terror. Let me ask you this question. I think this is a great question also. It's fairly easy for us to sit here and be armchair generals on Monday morning and say, yeah, I don't like what the Israelis are doing. Or, yeah, I don't like what's going on in Gaza. Let me ask you a question. What if Mexico had terror organizations? Oh, that's right, they do. Only we call them drug cartels. What if the drug cartels and other terror organizations, because they use terrorism, folks, to get their way. What if they sat on the border of Texas and fired rockets and missiles into El Paso? Or fired rockets and missiles into Dallas, and Houston, right? What if they fired rockets and were killing civilians indiscriminately? Fuck it, just starting to kill civilians and blow shit up. What would you want to do? As America, what should we do? Right? Well, let's just assume the drug cartels are hiding amongst civilians. They're hiding in hospitals. They're hiding in schools where children are and the sick are. What should America do if we were being attacked by these drug cartels? Oh, maybe that's not bad enough. Well, let's get worse. Let's say that the people who are launching rockets into El Paso and other Texas cities, killing women, children, men, government people, civilians, let's just say it was done by the Taliban. What if the Taliban is in, well, just across the border from El Paso? What if the Taliban was killing Texans? Would we want to send our special forces over there? Would we want to send our Air Force over there? Should we send, some F-16s, Joe Biden? Should we send some A-10s from the Army over there? Should we send in the Marines or the SEALs to wipe these people out? Well, damn right. You're killing children. You're killing women. You're blowing up businesses. You're destroying highways. You're fucking our cities up. You bet we should go after your country, right? That's an attack. Now, is it Mexico's fault? No, Mexico can't control the cartels or terrorists, can they? No, they can't. So we would be pissed off, right? We would say, fuck you. If you can't clean up your own damn country, we're going to go in there and clean up the terrorists. Well, what if the terrorists said, well, the Marines came in and they killed women and children on our side. They're killing thousands and thousands of Mexicans indiscriminately. They're blowing up the city. They're destroying us. Right? See, that's what the Israelis and the Hamas and Gaza people are dealing with. Hamas is sending missiles over into Israel and blowing shit up and killing women and children and fucking with their infrastructure, destroying buildings and businesses. So Israel says, we've had enough of your terrorist shit. Apparently, there's no government over there. And if there is a government, it's basically run by the terrorists. And you're not stopping the terrorism. You're encouraging the terrorism. So we're going to go over there and we're going to bomb the shit out of you. And they do. The Israelis do that. And then Hamas stands up and says, hey, you're killing thousands and thousands. It's genocide. And you're killing women and children. Genocide. And the Israelis are like, well, you're putting your people in schools and hospitals and launching rockets and missiles from them. What the fuck do you expect? Okay, that's down in Texas, folks. That's down in the Mexican border, this scenario I just came up with. What if it was in your town? Your little itty-bitty town. What if there were these little radical fuckers that were screaming pro-Palestine, right? And they were also BLM and Antifa members amongst them, running around, carrying their little Palestinian flags and their Antifa flags and their BLM flags. And people were getting murdered left and right. What would you think of them? Would you hide in your house, shelter in place? Or would you, as a brave, patriotic American, go kick the ever-loving stuffing out of them wherever they were at in your town? So they couldn't get dug in like chiggers and hide in tunnels that they dig under houses. Right? You wouldn't want them getting a toehold in this country, folks. Yet that's exactly what Joe Biden is letting them do. It truly is. Well, I tell you what, folks, we've got our work cut out for us. So let's talk about it. It is now your turn. It is time for the Inner Circle. All right, we're back. We've got Ooh Man down below. He's actually taking care of everything. Talking to you guys in the background, making sure everyone's being polite. Ooh Man puts up a Mikey G. And Mikey G says, Abe of Japan was shot. Prime Minister Abe. This was a while back, folks. And it was an interesting assassination. It was an odd assassination. It was barely believable as an assassination, but that's how it was presented, and who am I to judge? Abe, says Mikey G, was shot and nothing was done? Well, Japan has the strongest gun laws in the world. Yeah, I don't know much about Japan and their gun laws. I really don't. But I know it's a British company or a former British colony. How's that? Strongest gun laws in the world. They're so British they drive on the wrong side of the road in Japan. Strongest gun laws in the world. I wonder about Abe. Now, we're just going to have to keep wondering, I guess. Wow. Now, I want to tell you about about the Israelis. Strong gun laws, good or bad? What do we have here? No, it's not showing up. It just isn't. I'm going to go find it for you because I think it's a very important story that I found earlier. It has to do with what the Israeli people are doing. Oh, celebrities are so scared of Trump. Barbara Streisand, old Babs, says she's going to leave if Donald Trump wins. How many of them promised that last time and didn't come through? I don't believe these fucking people. They lie left and right. Crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Let's do this. Where is it at? Where is it at? The Israelis. The Israelis. The Israelis. Where is it? It's right here. Where the hell is it? My goodness. Did I just dream that the Israelis said, hey, we've got a problem with what's going on? Oh, yes, there it is. There it is. It did not make it in here. Let's just go right off the old phone-a-roo. Folks, the Israeli army eliminated 5 terrorists in a Hamas hospital. And in that hospital, folks, this was I found pretty interesting. In that hospital, one of the patients had something to say about Hamas. He said, Hamas can go to hell. You see, I don't believe that all Muslims support Hamas. And I'm sure a lot of the Muslims and others, whatever their belief system is or their ethnicity, the people that live in Gaza, I'm sure a lot of them are pissed off that Hamas constantly attacks Israel, which causes a response so that everyone in Gaza is forced to suffer for what they do. Anyways, so Hamas can go to hell, and guess what, folks? In Israel, already 236,000 Israelis have applied for gun permits. What the hell were you people thinking? It'd be like living in El Paso, right on the border of Mexico, and terrorists are shooting missiles into your city all the time, and you think you're protected and that you're not going to be attacked by these radical, wacko idiots? You know, that's kind of the silliness mentally that goes on. Ah, boy. Crazy. Just that the world has gone crazy, folks. It's gone wacko. It truly has, right? San Francisco, I was talking about it earlier. Oh, thank you very much, Mikey G. Yeah, strong gun laws do not protect you from terrorists. Israel disarmed all their citizens. They got attacked by terrorists. Now, 236,000 have already applied to get their gun permits. Yeah, look out. So Mikey G, you like your guns? Don't give them up. Now, I talked earlier about San Francisco holding a parade for Xi Jinping. They had communist Chinese flags draped all over the place because Xi is going to meet with his bitch today, Joe Biden. Now, I understand putting up put up some Chinese flags because some dignitaries are coming. Why wasn't there an equal number of American flags? Because Biden and Governor Newsom, Gavin Gruesome Newsom, they're telegraphing to the people. It psychologically plays on their minds when they see it on TV. Nothing but Chinese flags. It telegraphs that China owns California and that China owns America. Psychology says, bing, they're sellouts. They're absolute sellouts. It wouldn't surprise me, folks, if China takes California, takes control of it. And guess what? Gavin Newsom gets to be the governor. He still gets to be powerful. He still gets to keep his money. All he has to do is govern California in the name of China and Xi Jinping. There you have it, folks. That's how communists work. All right. Uman has something to say. He says, hey, the streets of San Francisco were flowing commie red today for Winnie Jipu's visit. Best part was watching Potato Joe Biden hobbling off the short plane. That's right, folks. Because you can't trust that man to walk down a staircase. And it was disgraceful that he got a reception like that. Yeah, folks. Treat a communist leader like a god and let them. I mean, how does he look compared to Joe Biden? The president should be a statesman. He should be a charismatic, strong character. Mentally fit, physically fit, strong. Instead, they send a dotard to go meet him. You think Xi Jinping is laughing his ass off, chuckling inside, going, these fucking Americans are sending that? I'm going to own this place in another 5 years. Anyways, here we are, folks. Here we are. Uman, what do we got? Name redacted says, even at war, they need permission. And he's speaking of the liberal Israeli government. He says they are where they're at for largely being libs. Yeah, for largely being libs, liberals. You see, they don't have rights in Israel. They have permission. They have privileges. You need permission to exercise a privilege. What an interesting fucking thought, that the government can tell you what to do about anything. See, that's what government wants, including the U.S. government in Washington, D.C., including the state government in every state, every government at every level, all the way down to your smallest homeowners association, where little socialist communist fucks, even at that level, want to tell you what to do with your property, what car you can have in your driveway, what flowers you can plant in your yard, whether or not you can have an American flag. Government at all levels, because HOAs are a form of government. They can lien your property and they can fine you. They can tell you what to do. All governments want that and believe that they have a right to violate your rights. Now, in Israel, they have no rights because they don't believe they have rights, because they have a government that they believe can tell them what to do. And so now they have to ask permission to own a gun to protect themselves from people who have sworn to fucking murder them. In America, you have rights. We said God created man. Man created the Constitution. The Constitution authorized the existence of the government. The government has to obey the Constitution, which serves the people. See the batting order for the Israelis and all other countries? They have the government. The people created the government, and the government is now superior to the people. The people created the government, and now the government is superior to the people and tells the people what they can and can't do. Don't give up your rights and exchange them for privileges. Fuck all governments. They work for us. They are the servants. We are the masters. Period. Period. They're at war. The dumbasses in Israel. And they're asking for permission to be able to defend themselves. In America, folks, within 10 feet of me, on any side, I'm surrounded by self-defense mechanisms, self-defense tools, freedom seeds. It makes me feel really good knowing that if someone tried lighting up the prepared bunker, I could return fire, well, with sportsman-like accuracy and volume. I can't say warlike because I don't have real assault weapons. I have what the government allows, which I think is wrong as well. At the time of the 1776 revolution, the state-of-the-art, most amazing and competent and superb weapons were muskets and rifles. They were still breech-loaded, rifled barrel. All that did was put a spin on the ball. And civilians had them, and the military had them. The military had cannon, black powder cannon. The civilians had black powder cannon. That's why, folks, the civilians of the American colonies could take on the military of the King of England and had equal footing with equal weaponry. When they came up with the Second Amendment, folks, they did not have cartridge firearms. That is, they didn't have what normal people call bullets. They didn't have cartridges. They didn't have ammunition that way. They had powder and they had ball. They didn't have percussion caps. Those came years later. What we call primers now. They didn't have cartridges with primers and smokeless powder and projectiles. If they did, then the framers of the Constitution should have said this: any weapon that the military has, the people are authorized. The people by right have access to the same level. So they are on par with the military of any invading country, because the people have a right to protect themselves against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Period. Shall not be infringed. Go fuck yourself, government. That's how it should be. Now, folks, are you confident? I'm talking to you. Are you confident in your knowledge and understanding of law and your belief system, your faith, that God created man and that man created the Constitution and Constitution authorized the government? I don't need permission from the government, folks. I will act in accord with what I know to be correct and my rights. And that, folks, scares the government. They don't want people like me and you to know our rights and to stand and take action when we deem it necessary. I don't have to ask the government for permission to defend the Constitution. I don't have to ask the government for permission to defend myself or others. I don't have to ask the government for permission to protect my state from an invasion by a foreign army or a domestic enemy. I don't have to ask for permission. I just do it. Now that, my friends, is power as free people. And I see, Mr. T, I see that you're sending me stuff, man. I got in, what do we have? Ooh, man, 2 freaking minutes before the show started. Man, I don't have time. I haven't had time to look at any of the emails you sent. And so I apologize for not getting to them. But, man, if you guys saw the schedule I keep, you would not want it. I don't think anyone wants the schedule I keep, except maybe Ooh, man. He's probably the only guy I know working harder than me. Anyways, let's continue. Thank you, name redacted. If we want to have terrorists jumping down our throats, turn your weapons in. See how they like it. Hey, 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 and it's Orlando. And thank you, Orlando, for everything you sent today as well. Wish I could get and had more time to look into what you had to talk about. He says, we all know what this is all about. This is Orlando's statement. It takes a lot of physical and psychological abuse to get an intelligent species to agree with its own eradication. Yeah, it does take psychological abuse. That's what they're doing to kids in school, kids in high school, kids in college. They psychologically abuse them so that they are less intelligent, less capable, less understanding, less intelligent. Not to mention physical abuse. Folks, I believe they physically abuse us with Jim Jones juice. That is physical, medical. I believe they physically abuse us with bad food. Food that is mineral and vitamin depleted. Food that is factory made, full of a bunch of chemicals and junk. I believe they physically abuse us by putting things like fluoride in the water. That is a form of physical abuse. It's not killing us, but it's hurting us. To get an intelligent species to agree with its own eradication. That's right. Western civilization, adios. We're going to bring in third world shithole mentality. And you're agreeing to it by allowing your governments to fuck you over. America, you ain't much better. Look at what we're doing. Here I am sitting in the Prepared Mind studio chair. While these little cretins come across the border with God knows what for weapons and drugs, and God knows who is a criminal or not, terrorists, as they infiltrate the government and our government, Joe Biden's Washington, D.C. government, whose time is numbered. Their days are numbered. Babs knows it. Ukraine knows it. China, Russia, Europe knows it. Their days are numbered, so they will do all manner of destruction that they can and get people to submit and agree to their own eradication. At some point, folks, that's going to be the end of it. At some point, that'll be the end of it. And we'll find out exactly how this game plays. Thank you very much, Orlando. Thank you, Mr. T. Thank you, Uman. Thank you, Jolene. Thank you, everyone. But we've got more, right? But wait, there's more. Yes, there is, and it's Michael Brown stepping in. He says, John, they want to keep their undercover secret. January 6 tapes. Yeah, they do. They really do, Michael. I agree with you 100%, man. That's why I'm calling out MAGA Mike Johnson. Is there something in those tapes that they want to keep secret? Something that even a supposed Republican would want to get out, right? Shouldn't they want us to know everything? What secrets could there be? What secrets, right? Is it national security? Right? Do the tapes reveal a Chinese spy with a suitcase full of cash sneaking into Pelosi's office? What could those secrets be, Michael? That's what I want to know, brother. That's what I want to know. Could the secrets be? Could it show government agents, provocateur, FBI, CIA? Could it show them cooperating and communicating with the police on the grounds, cooperating, communicating, and talking to Nancy Pelosi and other Democrats? Could we see Antifa and other people who are supposed to be Republicans meeting with certain members of the police and the SWAT team and FBI and coordinating with them and leading them around so they can commit serious acts of violence to blame on Trump? Could that be it? Could it be so conspiratorial that it affects not only the Washington, D.C. police, but it could burden the FBI with the guilt of being conspirators against the American people? You're fucking A right it is. That's what they need to hide. So why wouldn't MAGA Mike Johnson want that out there? Because it's so bad that people, the United States of America, the people of this country, red-blooded Americans, would lose absolute 100% faith in the institutions of government in Washington, D.C. We'd be so disgusted and pissed off at what they've done that we would never again trust the cocksuckers. Well, I'm already there. But Michael, people like me and others, maybe like you, or maybe like Mike or John or Judy or Jem or Jeff, maybe they're afraid that other people would wake up and would demand the destruction, the dissolution, the removal of the FBI. Perhaps MAGA Mike Johnson, maybe he, folks, has been told, if we release those tapes, not only would it destroy all of the bad people in the FBI, but it would destroy some of the good ones who are actually concerned about national security and finding and fighting terrorism and drugs and child trafficking. So he's like, well, we're just going to hide this. And why don't they just fucking let the January 6th protesters go? Right? If they did that, just let them go. You guys go home. Go home. There's no crime here. You guys just go home. It's cool. We're just going to forget about this. America, we're just going to forget about January 6th. There's no insurrection. No one's arrested. No one's hurt. There's no tapes. There's nothing to see here. Move along. Nothing to see here. Why don't they do that? Nope. It's fuck you, January 6ers. Fuck you, America. We're going to put these people in jail. We're going to throw away the fucking key. We're going to teach you a lesson that you will not stand up to a corrupt, absolutely filthy election system and government system. And we're going to put these people in jail and we're going to keep them there. And you're not going to see the January 6 tapes. And I'm MAGA Mike Johnson. I told you, folks, I don't fucking care. I will look at these people. I'll call them out on it. There's no reason There is no good reason that these tapes should be kept secret. If it shows the FBI, members of Congress, the police, other agencies like the DHS or the NSA cooperating with scumbag leftist violent pigs, good. Let them all come out and burn. And by burn, I mean burn their asses and throw them in jail. What is more valuable to the American people and nation? To have a government that we can trust. Having innocent, patriotic Americans go home and taking corrupt government officials and throwing their ass in prison would go a long way in correcting how Americans feel about their government. I would love to see 1,000 corrupt piece of shit government officials go to prison. That would give me some confidence that the government's going in the right direction, that we could trust the government, that we could trust the Attorney General's office, that we could trust the Department of Justice, that we could trust the court system by getting rid of these scum. So yeah, Michael, you're right, man. They want to keep their fucking secrets undercover. No January 6 tapes for us, folks. No. We wouldn't understand why the government needs to do that. MAGA Mike Johnson, do your fucking job. Do it. Do it. Do your fucking job and release those tapes so the American people can see who's guilty and who is not. Period. I want to see that the prosecuting attorneys for the government lied about who they prosecuted. I guarantee that those idiots that were fighting with cops inside Congress were government agents with black masks over their face looking like Antifa punks. And that it was staged. It was all fucking staged. How about the cops or cop that threw people off the balcony on Congress? Almost killed a fucking man. Oh, they did kill 4 Americans. I'll criticize the fuck out of MAGA Mike Johnson. Release the tapes, you bastard. All right, man. I know we got a couple more questions. H12, Heidi checks in and says, hey, immigrants from communist countries are seeing what is happening and they're trying to decide where to move next. Where to move to next. Tell you what, Venezuelans are leaving Chicago. Uman would be happy to hear that his precious state of Illinois is going to lose a lot of their immigrants. Why? Because the communists from Venezuela have looked around at Chicago and went, I ain't fucking staying here. Better off in Venezuela. I'm sure they won't go back to Venezuela. I'm sure they'll just head south to where it's warmer and the food is better and there's less violence. That's how big a shithole Chicago is, folks. Chi-town is worse than communist Venezuela. Oh, they're going to leave New York. They're going to leave Chicago. They're going to leave Philly. They're going to leave Baltimore. They're going to leave Cincinnati. They're going to leave Indianapolis. They're going to leave Milwaukee. They're going to leave Lansing. They're going to leave Detroit. Because those are shitholes. Anyways, thank you, Heidi. I hope they leave Minnesota, too, and go back to where they came from. Name redacted. I think this is going to finish us out today as we come up on the 1 hour mark. Name redacted says, a South American neighbor of mine can't believe that Americans don't see the communism going on here. I'll tell you what, we do. You and I do. Patriotic, intelligent, educated Americans who understand liberty, freedom, the Constitution, and history understand what communism is, what it's about, what it does, and where this nation is. Right? The state of the forum is we have a commu-fascist government, globalist in nature, design, and control, that is taking over our country, trying to remove our liberties and destroy the republic and replace it with what they call democracy, which means the rich people are voting to enrich themselves, and you will own nothing and you'll like it. Chance favors the prepared mind, folks. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Good golly. Get prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Go to thepreparedmind.club. And if you're not a premium member, sign up. Go to thepreparedmind.club and get your preps in order. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. You can get those items at thepreparedmind.club. You click on them and you go to their store. You go to their cyber store. You go to their cyber store. Get what you need, folks. Shit's going to get nasty. It is. You're seeing it. They've excited and woken up world terrorism, and they've invited it into our country. How fucking stupid is that? Well, it's Democrat stupid. Truly Democrat stupid. And they are the ones in charge, folks. The Democrats, the rhinos, the liars, the thieves, and the scum. Get prepared.